Coming up on 5 Minute News. Giuliani to pay $148 million to Georgia election workers he defamed. Justice Neil Gorsuch took just 10 minutes to approve Dobbs' opinion. And binder of classified Russia material went missing in final Trump days. It's Friday, December 15. I'm Anthony Davis. The disgraced former mayor Rudy Giuliani must pay more than $148 million in damages to two former Georgia election workers he defamed through false accusations that they helped rig the 2020 election against Donald Trump, a jury decided today. The jury in federal court in Washington found that Giuliani owes the workers, Wandrea Shea Moss and her mother Ruby Freeman, roughly $73 million to compensate them for the reputational and emotional harm they suffered, plus $75 million to punish the former Trump lawyer and one-time New York mayor for his conduct. Today is a good day. A jury stood witness to what Rudy Giuliani did to me and my daughter and held him accountable, Freeman told reporters outside the courthouse, adding, others must be held accountable too. A federal judge determined before the trial that Giuliani was liable for defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and civil conspiracy. The only question before the jury was how much in damages to impose on Giuliani, who helped Donald Trump advance his false claims of a stolen 2020 election. The panel deliberated for more than 10 hours before coming to a decision. The verdict was reached after an emotional 3 days of testimony in which Moss and Freeman, who are black, recounted a deluge of racist and sexist messages, including threats of lynching they received after Trump and his allies spread false claims that they were engaged in voter fraud. The conservative Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch took just 10 minutes to approve, without changes, a 98-page draft of the opinion that would remove the federal right to abortion that had been guaranteed for nearly 50 years, according to reports by the New York Times. According to the paper, Samuel Alito, the author of the opinion in Dobbs versus Jackson, the case that struck down Roe versus Wade from 1973, circulated his draft at 11:16 a.m. on the 10th of February 2022. Citing two people who saw communications between the justices, the Times said after a justice shares an opinion inside the court, other members scrutinize it. Those in the majority can request revisions, sometimes as the price of their votes, sweating sentences, or even words. But this time, despite the document's length, Justice Neil M. Gorsuch wrote back just 10 minutes later to say that he would sign on to the opinion and had no changes. Three other MAGA Republican Supreme Court justices, Clarence Thomas, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh, signed on in the following day. None requested a single alteration, the Times said. The responses looked like a display of conservative force and discipline. The full opinion was passed down in June. Far-right Christian nationalists and MAGA Republicans celebrated a great victory. Regular people protested. Since then, attacks on abortion rights, including stringent bans in Republican-run states, have fueled a series of Democratic election victories. A 10-inch thick binder containing nearly 3,000 pages of highly classified material related to the investigation of Russian election interference, as well as links between Moscow and Donald Trump, went missing in the final days of Trump's presidency. It's reported that the disappearance raised alarms in the American intelligence community because some of the most closely guarded national security secrets from the US and its allies could be exposed. The New York Times said national security officials were vexed by the disappearance of the Crossfire Hurricane binder, which was the name given to the investigation by the FBI. The issue was so concerning, the Times added, the Senate Intelligence Committee was briefed. Now the front-runner for the Republican presidential nomination, Trump faces 91 criminal charges arising from his conduct since entering politics in 2015. 40 charges brought by the special counsel Jack Smith concern the retention of classified information after leaving office. The investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 election won by Trump ended in April 2019. At that time, a report by the special counsel Robert Mueller laid out evidence of Russian interference and links between Trump and Moscow and occasions on which Trump may have tried to obstruct justice. Today, reports about the missing binder, which the Times said ran to 2,700 pages, brought the Russia investigation back to the headlines. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.